I want you to imagine two people in a meeting. Both speak English at the same level. Same vocabulary, same grammar, same accent. But when person A finishes speaking, the room is quiet for a second. People nod. Something landed. When person B finishes speaking, someone asks, "Sorry, can you say that again?" Same English. Completely different results. The difference is not fluency. The difference is clarity. And nobody in the 20th century understood clarity better than a man who dropped out of college, walked barefoot in the office, and then stood on a stage in jeans and a black turtleneck, with no teleprompter, no notes, no slides full of bullet points, and changed the world with a single sentence. Today, Apple is going to reinvent the phone. 11 words, one idea. The entire room exploded. That man was Steve Jobs. And today, I'm going to give you his method, not for selling computers, for your English, in meetings, in emails, in presentations, in any moment when you need to be understood, clearly, immediately, and completely, in a second language. Here is a problem I see constantly with B1 and B2 speakers. And I want you to be honest with yourself, because this might be you. When you need to explain something in English, you try to explain everything. You give the background, then the context, then the details, then the caveats, then the conclusion. By the time you get to the point, the other person has already started thinking about something else. Or the opposite happens. You're so afraid of saying the wrong thing that you keep it vague. Safe, general. You use words like basically, kind of, sort of, I think maybe, and the result is a sentence that says something but commits to nothing. Both problems have the same root. You don't know what the one thing is. The single most important thing you need to say right now. And until you know that, everything you say will be noise around a missing center. Steve Jobs spent weeks preparing each product launch. Weeks. Not designing slides. Rehearsing sentences. Reducing. Cutting. Simplifying. Finding the one sentence that carried the whole idea. His rule was simple and brutal. If you cannot say it in one sentence, you do not understand it well enough to say it at all. Let me give you his 4 rules and show you exactly how to apply them today. Rule 1, lead with the headline. Every journalist knows this rule. Every great communicator knows this rule. Steve Jobs built his entire career on this rule. And most English learners do the exact opposite. The headline is the most important thing you have to say, not the conclusion, not the punchline at the end, the first sentence. When Jobs introduced the first iPod in 2001, he did not say, "We've been working on a new device that combines several audio technologies with a new interface and storage system, and we think you're going to find it very interesting." He said, 1,000 songs in your pocket. That is the headline. Everything else is detail. And detail only matters after the headline has landed. In your English, this means one thing. Say the most important sentence first. Always first. Before the context. Before the explanation. Before the background. Compare these 2 ways to start a meeting. Without the headline. So I've been looking at the numbers from last quarter, and there were some things that were interesting, and I wanted to share some thoughts about what might be causing the drop, because I think there are a few factors to consider with a headline. Our numbers are down 20%, and I think I know why. Can I walk you through it? The second version takes 5 seconds. It contains one idea, and the other person is already leaning forward. Your exercise for this week. Take the last email you wrote in English that was longer than 5 lines. Find the most important sentence in that email. Now put it first. Then delete everything that doesn't support it. You will be amazed at what disappears. Rule 2, never more than 3. Steve Jobs never gave audiences more than 3 key points. Not 5, not 7, not 10 rules or 6 habits. 3, always 3. This is not a presentation trick. It is a fact about human memory. The human brain, under normal conditions, can hold approximately 3 new pieces of information at the same time. 4 becomes 2, 5 becomes 1, 7 becomes nothing. When you speak English as a second language, you are already asking the other person to do extra work, to follow your accent, your rhythm, your occasional hesitation. The more points you give them, the more that extra work compounds, until they stop processing and just wait for you to finish. So here's the rule. Every time you need to explain something in English, decide on 3 points maximum, not up to 3. Exactly 3. 1 is too little. It sounds like you haven't thought it through. 4 is too many. It sounds like you haven't edited. 3 is the signal that you know what matters. And structure them out loud. Don't just list them. Frame them. There are 3 things I want you to take from this. First, second, and third. That frame does something powerful in English. It tells the other person how to listen. They know there's a structure coming. They relax. They organize. And when you say third, they know they're almost done and they pay attention to the end. 3. Every time. Rule 3. Kill every word you don't need. This is the rule that will transform your English more than any other. And it is the hardest one to follow because it requires something most people are not willing to do. Trust your listener. Steve Jobs did not say, "We have developed an innovative solution that leverages cutting-edge technology to deliver an unprecedented user experience." He said, "It just works." 3 words, infinite meaning. In professional English, there's enormous pressure to sound sophisticated, to use long words, to qualify everything, to add phrases like in terms of, from a strategic perspective, with regard to. It is worth noting that these phrases signal to the speaker, I am being careful, I am being professional, I am being thorough. But to the listener, they signal something else entirely. I am not confident. I am hiding behind language. I have not decided what I really want to say. Simplicity is not weakness. Simplicity is mastery. It takes far more skill to say something clearly in 10 words than vaguely in 50. Here is your test. Take any sentence you wrote or said in English this week. Now ask, which words would disappear if I were explaining this to a 10-year-old? Remove them. What is left? What is left is your real English, the version that communicates, the version people remember. 1 rule for cutting. If removing a word changes the meaning, keep it. If removing it just changes the length, cut it. Rule 4. Sell the feeling, not the feature. This is the rule that separated Steve Jobs from every other technology executive of his generation. And it is the rule that will separate your English from every other non-native speaker in the room. A feature is what something is. A feeling is what something does for you. Jobs never said the iPhone has a 3.5-inch multi-touch display. He said, the most advanced phone ever, an iPod, and an internet device, all in one. And then he paused and smiled. And the audience understood immediately not what the phone was, but what it would mean for their lives. In your English, this means one simple shift. Stop describing what things are. Start describing what they do for the person listening. Instead of, I have experience in project management and team coordination. Say, when I'm on a project, things get done on time and people enjoy the process. Instead of, our product has 3 new features. Say, our products save your team 2 hours every day. Instead of, I studied English for 5 years. Say, I can hold a full business meeting in English without slowing the room down. Do you feel the difference? The first version describes you. The second version describes what the other person gets. And in any conversation, in any language, in any culture, in any context, people are always more interested in what they get than in what you have. Sell the feeling. Every time. Let's practice right now. I want you to say each of these out loud. No mumbling. No reading. Say them like you believe every word. Sentence 1. The most important thing I have to say, I say it first. Say it. Sentence 2. 3 points. Always 3. Never more. Say it. And hold up 3 fingers. Sentence 3. If I can remove a word without losing the meaning, I remove it. Say it slowly. Sentence 4. I don't describe what I have. I describe what you get. Say it. You just practice the Steve Jobs method. In English, in under 2 minutes. Jobs could do a lot with 2 minutes. Now, so can you. Now I want something from you. In the comments right now, take the last thing you wrote or said in English at work. 1 email, 1 presentation intro, 1 response in a meeting, anything, and rewrite it using today's rules. Headline first. 3 points max kill the noise. Sell the feeling. Paste a new version in the comments. In English, as short as you can make it. I'm going to read every single one. And I'll reply to the ones that nail it, because that kind of live feedback in a real comment section with a real person reading is worth more than 100 grammar exercises. If jobs change something in how you think about English today, you know what to do. Subscribe, turn on the bell, because next week, we're going to a woman who built a media empire with one weapon and one weapon only. Not money, not connections, not a degree. Questions. Oprah Winfrey, the person who figured out that the most powerful thing you can say in English is not a statement. It's the right question asked at the right moment. And I'm going to show you exactly how she does it and how you can do it too, starting tomorrow in your very next English conversation. Subscribe, and until next week, say more, use fewer words, trust the person listening. That's the Jobs method. That's your English from now on. I'll see you next week.